Alright, today we are on the hunt for a lawnmower with a 46-inch, or 48-inch, excuse me, deck on it. Because the guy down the road wants a 48-inch cut. So, I found one the other day right over there that I think we'll probably use if we can get it back up and going. This one's got a 48-inch cut. One of the few. A lot of these are 42 or 46, but this one's a 48, a little bit buried, but I'm gonna look around, see if there's anything else. This one's probably what we'll go with. It's got an engine in it. Don't know what's wrong with it. Maybe it'll run. I have no idea, but I'll take a peek around and we'll probably end up pulling this one out. Well, I took a look around. This is about the only good candidate, or halfway decent candidate, that I can find. A lot of 46s and 42s and 50s, but not really any 48s, except for this one. And it's got the engine there with it. Seat's a little ratty. I got more of them. Deck's kind of, sort of, a little bit buried. Looks like a gopher made a home under it. But I think if we can drag this out, we can make it into an operable lawnmower anyway. And I should have enough Husqvarna parts around here to make it all work. So let's see if I can drag it out, move that thing and that. I think I should drag it out here. I should be able to drag it out and get back to the shop. So, well, let's get to work and dig this thing out of here. Well, a little bit of leverage goes a long way. I had to put that bar under it, kind of break it loose from the ground. It was a little bit stuck in there. But I got it out, and I got a little path, so we should be able to drag it out of here. Not the prettiest machine in the world, but I don't think he's going to care, as long as it works. Let's grab another mower and yank this thing out of here. Well, alright, I got it in the garage here. All four tires seem to have some sort of air in them, which is a miracle. In spite of that, it was still a pretty tough drag, because the hydros don't want to release. The hydro release doesn't really work. Sort of works, but not really. So I drug it up here with the 8N, and that made short work of it. So I guess now that we got it in the garage, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and take that fuel line out, see if there's any gas in it, drain that out, maybe take a look at the carb, see if there's any residual fuel in that, see how the bowl looks, maybe. And see if it'll fire up. If it'll fire up and run, I think we can make the rest of it work. Alright, I went ahead and I took the line off there, and just a little dribble of really nasty gas came out, and then nothing else. So I think I'm just going to leave that alone for now. And the bowl is, of course, behind this stupid shield. I'll have to take that off at some point, but for now I got the battery hooked up, and I guess we'll see what it does. And brakes on. I think that's just a solenoid. Yeah, motor turns over, but solenoid just clicks. I guess that's to be expected. Been sitting a while. Electric clutch works. That's a good sign. Alright, maybe I'll just hook her right to the starter there and see what happens. Alright, let's see if it'll go. Crank over anyway. Yeah. Well, it'll go. It'll turn over. Not real quick, but it'll do it. Yeah, put that back. See. Yeah. Still just clicky click. I have to get to that solenoid, I suppose. Alright, I went out back, found another solenoid, went ahead and threw a battery in here, and she turns over. Not exactly quick, but it'll turn over. Give her a shot of something and see if anything happens, I guess. She's pretty slow. Well, either our valves are out of adjustment or camshaft's wiped and the compression release isn't going, or my batteries are just that bad. That could be too. Maybe I'll try a different jumper battery and see if that changes anything. Well, I think I may have figured out, at least in part, why it's turning so slow. I pulled this valve cover off to check the valve clearances, and I was immediately hit with the smell of old rotten gas, and went ahead and decided to drain it here, and you can see it's almost a red color. I don't know how well that'll come out, but almost a red color, and it's super thick. There's oil in it and it's just barely dribbling out, so I'm wondering if this thing didn't get flooded with gas and then it sat for years. All that gas evaporated and left some goo for us. Even if that's not the case and that's some other type of fluid or whatever, it's way too thick to be turning this engine around, so we'll get that out of there somehow, and I might as well, I guess, check the valve clearance and everything while I'm here. Plugs, on the other hand, they're brand new, and the air filter's brand new, so they must have did something before they got rid of it. Well, alright, it's finally coming out. Halfway's decent. I went ahead and I threw some gas in the crankcase there to try to thin out that varnishy goo that's in there, and it seems to have worked. It's coming out relatively decent. Also went ahead and took the cover off, and also grabbed another fuel pump because I don't trust the old one. That's a spot it could have been coming in and going through the pulse line and filling the engine, or maybe the carburetor, but I don't have another. Well, I do have another carburetor. I don't know if I want to swap that for a used one or just get a brand new one for $26. But first, I want to get all this crap out and then put fresh oil in it so everything's lubricated and can spin free. And I went ahead and I threw some Marble Mystery Oil in the cylinders, and it seems to be spinning over a lot easier now. So I think that helped. I hope it did. And I got the oil filter off this side and let it drain out there too. So once that's all out, we'll get some oil in it and put the plugs back in and try it with some spray and just see if it pops off, and then figure out where I want to go from there. Alright, I got most of the goo out of it, and I filled it back up with 530 and a little Marble Mystery Oil. Hopefully clean things up in there. And got the spark plugs back in. I cranked it over a little bit with the plugs out, and it spins a lot faster, so hopefully this will work. But let's spray a little carb spray in there and see if we can get it to fire, maybe. That'd be awesome. No fire yet. I suppose I could check spark. That's one thing I never did check. But it's spinning over a lot faster now, which I like. Well, I just checked the spark and we're good. Probably the first thing I should check, but whatever, we got spark. So we should be able to make it run. Doesn't even want to fart. Alright, we've got a runner. Now I suppose I'll hook that line up and maybe it'll run on its own. You never know, but hey, it's promising. Well, alright, I hooked the lines back up and I poured a little gas in the tank. I don't think that carburetor is going to be very good, but I'd rather run any old gas and crap through an old carburetor anyway. So let's just see if it'll go. And we might have to give her a bump. Don't tell me my battery's going to die before I even get to see if it'll work. Of course it is. Batteries. Alright, we'll jump her to a bigger battery. Maybe that'll help. Well, it runs. Not the greatest, but it actually runs. Sweet. Well, now that we know it'll run, I got it buttoned back up a little bit, and I think I'll fire it up, see if it'll move. Should move. And let it run outside a little bit. Get that oil circulated in there. A little bit of fresh gas up to the carb and see how it does. Alright, we got the thing running and driving, so now I feel a little bit better about sticking some money into it and some more time into it and making it halfway decent. So I went ahead and ordered a carburetor. This one runs, but it's a little off, and these small engine carburetors, most of them are so cheap, there's no sense in ripping that off and tearing it apart and rebuilding it. Just get a new one. So that's what I did, got a new one, and I went ahead and ordered up some new blades because I know we'll need them. So I think today we can go ahead and start cleaning this deck off. I did spin the spindles, they're all free. So we can get that taken care of, and then a few cosmetic issues while we wait for parts. I think it'll be a good mower. Alright, I got the deck somewhat cleaned off here. A lot of this dirt is still frozen because it is January, but cleaned it up. I didn't really find any major issues. Obviously it needs blades, but I've got those on the way. Everything still spins. And I'll have to, of course, clean all that up once it thaws out, but for the most part it's pretty good. I got one, I don't know where it went, but there's one little crack in this belt. Not a huge deal, we can get a new one of those. And I need a discharge chute, but other than that, it's not bad. I think I'll leave all this on here and put it back on and spin it up, make sure everything works, but I'll go on the hunt out in the yard for one of them. And then we can move on to the machine here. I've got a bunch of seats. I'll replace the seat because that looks pretty nasty, and the steering wheel looks pretty rotten too. Get rid of that. I don't know what I'm going to do with the hood. Maybe I'll just slap a hood from something else on there. That one looks pretty rough, but it does work. Yeah, she's coming together, and then I'll have to get some air in the tires and grease her all up while I wait for parts, but she's coming along nicely. Well, of course, the seat had to give me a bunch of trouble. This center deal where you got the little thumb screw to adjust the seat, that was rusted in. I had to break off the plastic part and then get vice grips on it to take it off. And then I walked around. I didn't have any seats with that mounting style that were any good, so I just said screw it. I'm going to take the whole mounting plate off, and we're going to switch it to a new style, because I have a bunch of these newer style seats, and they got the fancy Husqvarna logo in the back, and they're not too beat up. There's little tears in them or whatever, but way better than that thing. So now I'm going to swap out the whole seat pan and everything, the mounting bracket, and these ones are kind of cool. They got a little lever on the side you can push and just scoot it up. You don't have to tip the seat up and unscrew things and all that crap. So I'm going to bolt that on, and went and got a steering wheel from a newer mower, better than that old crusty thing, and that just pops right on there. I'll tighten it down and it'll be good to go. Fancy Husqvarna stuff. Still needs a bath, but not worried about that yet. Let's get this seat on here and see how it looks. Well, slowly but surely it's coming together. I grabbed a hood off of another machine out there. It's a bit different than that one, but the hood hinge was all busted on that one and cobbled together. So I got this one. Seems to be still fairly intact, not all busted up. It's a little bit different, obviously, but it works. It'll close. It's got both the headlight lenses in it, unlike that one. Needs to be cleaned up, but other than that, it's halfway decent. And the seat, I got that mounted. There is a difference with these two styles. This one originally had the springs way in the back here, and it wouldn't hit those springs, wouldn't give you any cushion. So I went out back, found some taller springs off of yard machines, and we got cushion now. So that's all done, and the steering wheel's on, and that works good. I like it. It's improving slowly but surely. Alright, I think I've got this thing about as far as I'm going to go until springtime, so I can wash it all off and everything. I got a new carburetor for it because the old one just not running good, and for 33 bucks I get a brand new carburetor and an air filter and fuel filters and an oil filter and gaskets and a fuel pump if I need one, and I'm pretty sure there's a pre-filter below that. So for 33 bucks for all that, I think that sure beats digging into the old carburetor. So I'll put that on in the springtime. No sense in leaving gas sit in a brand new carburetor until then. And I also got new Oregon blades for it. They were, I don't know if that's the right number or not, they're in a different box, but got new Oregon blades for it for 20 bucks. Can't go wrong there. I still have to order a belt and a discharge chute, and then after this is all washed off, it should be all done. And I got maybe a little over 100 bucks into it. If I had a discharge chute, I think that would be cut nearly in half, just because they're a little more expensive than anything else I bought. But I don't have a 48-inch chute, and they're different than the 46s, unfortunately. I tried that. Not quite the same, but yeah. Once we get her cleaned off in the spring, finish up all the little stuff with it, I think she'll be a good little unit.